He is fun, he's divine. She grew wiser, bolder, and stronger through this process and journey. That's why they say you have to sometimes go through hell to find heaven. And ask and you shall receive. Never chase, always attract, always welcome. What's meant for you will always be for you. What's meant to be will always be. Pod with Meg. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Pod with Meg, the solo sessions. Hello.
Roll sound.
Rolling. Sound production, take 2.
All right. So. I like how this is moving. All right. Hey guys, it's your girl Megan Lex, and welcome to my channel. If you're back, you're a nutmeg, and if you're new, unfortunately, you're just a nut. So make sure you keep coming back to become a nutmeg, okay? Alright, so today's video is an exciting one because honestly, this kind of goes back a few years because in college, I was in this class called Greek mythology, and personally, I didn't like it that much. But now looking back, it was meant to be. It was literally divine timing, okay? And before we get started, please subscribe for more videos. I'm almost at my goal. So please, if you don't mind helping a girl out, that would be divine of you. And please give this video a big and juicy thumbs up.
Hands up in the air.
Alright, so today's video is going to be about twin flames, and we're going to be doing something new. I'm very much into Greek mythology, which is very interesting because in college, it was like a required class. We had options, but I chose the Greek mythology class, and looking back, it's such a full circle moment because look at me now, talking about it here on my podcast. But yeah, I'm really into Greek mythology lately. I did a podcast called Narcissism, and I talked a little bit about Narcissus and his story as a Greek myth. Or isn't a myth, who knows? But yeah.
Flashback.
And speaking of this, let's actually go back a little bit into Greek mythology. Oh yeah, this is low-key a history lesson, guys. According to Ovid's Greek mythology, Narcissus was the man who fell in love with his own reflection. He also had many potential lovers, and one of the lovers he rejected, the nymph Echo, she was basically someone who just echoed sounds, and so she cursed him and made him fall in love with his own reflection in like a river. And when he realized that the reflection couldn't love him back, because literally it's just himself. And that is a very interesting and telling story because at the end of the day, when you love yourself, that's amazing. But when you only love yourself, what a lonely life to live.
End of flashback.
But yeah, let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about twin flames, and more specifically, the story of Cupid and Psyche. And Cupid is the god of love, and Psyche was a mortal turned immortal, and her name means the soul, like the psyche. So yeah, let's get into it. You guys know me, I have my notes and research, baby. The notes don't lie. Hello. Alright, so let's start from the beginning. So Psyche, she was a mortal princess, gorgeous, literally stunning. The humans were intimidated by her beauty. No one knew what to do. She was unwed. She was literally feeling lonely, but she was so beautiful. And people were worshiping her so much that some people grew jealous. And not just people, but Venus, Aphrodite, the goddess of love, she grew jealous of poor Psyche. So what does she do? She sends her son down to earth to shake things up. And it's so funny, I actually have a Cupid tattoo and a heart and 1111 right here. Wow, everything is truly so divine. And Psyche's spirit animal is the butterfly, and I also have a butterfly tattoo, so crazy. And Psyche's spirit animal is butterfly because she really represents transformation, as you will hear in just a minute. So yeah, if you see a lot of butterflies or if you resonate with butterflies, you might have a little bit of Psyche in you. I mean, we all do, but yeah. So Venus grew jealous. She sent her son Cupid Eros. And Eros, Eros, was also the name he was referred to as. The Cupid's bow, the Cupid's arrow, it's all connected. And so Venus, Aphrodite, sends her son Cupid down to Earth to cause some wreckage in poor Psyche's world. And so she sends him to make her fall in love with a gross, disgusting creature. But instead, when Cupid comes down to Earth and sees Psyche, he falls in love with her. I think that's part of where love at first sight comes from, because he's so frazzled that he actually ends up striking himself with the Cupid's bow, the Cupid's arrow. So to Aphrodite's dismay, he instead falls in love with Psyche. And so because of this, it actually has to be a little bit secretive and mysterious. So while this is all happening, Psyche does not know what's going on. Again, this kind of shows that the universe is working when you don't even know. And so Psyche, she is feeling lonely. And so her dad grows worried as he sees his daughter struggling, feeling unloved, and being unwed. And so, not saying there's anything wrong with being unwed, but yeah, she's feeling lonely. And so he goes to the Oracle of Apollo and asks for help. Because you know what? Sometimes when you're struggling or when you need help, you have to ask for it. And ask and you shall receive, okay? Okay. And so he goes to the Oracle of Apollo. And so he tells Psyche's father that Psyche must go either at the top of a mountain or on a rooftop somewhere and wait for her marriage to an ugly creature. And so Psyche... Whoa, did you guys see that? And so Psyche, feeling so hopeless, she goes and waits for her fate. And so, as luck would find it, she starts feeling a gentle wind that pushes her to a palace. This gentle wind is called Zephyrus. I'm gonna insert in what that means because I'm not quite sure what that means right now. So here's the definition of a Zephyrus. And so this wind, which represents her fate, takes her to this beautiful palace. And so she's brought to this beautiful palace, and still things are very mysterious. And so at nighttime, when the sun sets, these hands start to serve her. I'm going to try to make this not sound creepy, but this is how it's written. And by the way, this comes from Metamorphosis by Lucius Apuleius. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. But yes, this is his book, and this is the source of this story. Because yeah, we love the source. Hello. Source to source. Without him, we wouldn't be here right now. Without him, I wouldn't be retelling this story in my fun, silly, goofy way. And cutesy, of course. And if this didn't seem mysterious enough, in this gorgeous palace, when the sun set and nighttime comes around, Cupid comes, and he is described as these unseen hands that are serving her. And I don't know if this is code for lovemaking, but yeah, at night he comes around and she knows there's Cupid there, but she doesn't know what he looks like. She doesn't know anything about him really. She just knows that her soul is being connected somehow, but there's a sense of mystery. She can't see him. And so yeah, very mysterious. I'm just as confused as you are and as Psyche probably was at the time. So time continues and she starts to fall in love with this spirit, this person, this Cupid-like energy. And so she, rightfully so, grows very curious because this husband-like figure is coming in the middle of the night in this beautiful palace and she's forbidden to look at him or see him. Hello, who wouldn't grow curious? And you know how in Cinderella she has those jealous sisters? Like Cinderella, Psyche has jealous sisters who are urging her like, you know what? If he's so great, you should be able to look at him. Why aren't you looking at him? The forbidden stuff. This is weird. Like, what are you doing? And so with her sisters yapping in her head, she grows even more curious. And so the next night when these unseen hands, Cupid, comes around, she gets a candle. I guess while he's sleeping, you know, after their handsy moments, Psyche really said, put his ass to sleep, now he calling me night wolf. So while Cupid is sleeping, Psyche gets a candle, lures it over, trying to see this man's face. What? He is fine, he's divine, she is shooketh. She's like, oh! OMG, he's even better than I imagined. She's in prime time. She is happy, she sees him, and then she burns him. So she burns him with the wax from the candle. He wakes up and he feels betrayed physically and emotionally because one, he's burned, but he also feels burned emotionally. And so he ends up fleeing, feeling betrayed. He feels like Psyche didn't trust him and went against the forbidden rules. It's giving forbidden love. It's giving Romeo and Juliet. It's giving drama. And so Cupid flees and Psyche is left there feeling lonely and abandoned and unloved. And so what does she do? Ooh. Oh no, not the sirens, because that was what was happening. Trouble, trouble. And so Psyche is left feeling heartbroken and then begins her quest to self-discovery, self-love, self-worth, self-confidence. Her journey begins after Cupid leaves. This is when her journey really begins. And after then, and only then, will she find out if they will be reunited through divine timing. And so let's get into the trials and tribulations that Psyche had to endure to find her true love, which was really herself. So here are Psyche's trials, which is basically just another way of saying her soul searching. So the first thing Psyche had to do was sort a huge pile of mixed grains before nightfall. She completes this task with the help of ants, kind of similar to Cinderella with her help of mice. And in fairy tales, when the animals or the insects are helping, and that really goes to show how the universe really is such a beautiful place, because you don't realize how these ants, these flowers, these trees can really help you in the grand scheme of things. Like, think about it, like when people didn't have a GPS, they could tell directions by different trees, by hearing certain animals. It's truly so beautiful when you think about it. And so by sorting through this pile of grains, she learns discernment, patience, and this is kind of also symbolic of organization of chaos. Organizing your chaotic thoughts. When you're able to sort through things physically, you're also better able to sort through your mind. It basically just manifests. For example, when I organize my house, I feel way more organized mentally. When I'm able to cook something, putting the right ingredients, kind of makes me think of Sleeping Beauty. Them cooking and finding the right ingredients, you're just better able to sort through things because you're literally doing it physically, if that makes sense. And this is also very symbolic of true love, because true love does require courage, patience, and redemption, which is something that Psyche is slowly doing throughout this journey that she goes through. And so the next thing Psyche has to do is she has to fetch golden wool from a violent sheep, or a violent sheep. It might have been more than one. So in order to do this, she has to wait for the perfect time and make sure everything is planned accordingly. And so she ends up making the golden fleece that she worked hard for, and she basically had to go out there and put in the work to create something. It's like an homage to fashion designers. They go out, look for their designs, look for the patterns and fabric, and create something. And she learned how to create something on her own and with the help of the universe. And so this act taught Psyche the power of wisdom and timing, because she had to find the right time and use her wisdom to act accordingly and not get hurt in the process, and do it well as well. The next task Psyche had to complete was the Deadly River Styx. Styx? Is that how you say it?
Roll sound.
Rolling. Sound production, take 2.
So then Psyche's next trial was to go to a river and retrieve a flask of water from the deadly river called Styx, Styx. And so she has to retrieve this flask of water, and in the process, she gets some help from an eagle. And the river represents water, which also represents emotions. And while doing this, Psyche has to sort of work through her emotions throughout her entire soul journey. The soul is emotions. And the deadly water was so chaotic and dangerous, and sometimes your emotions can feel very chaotic and dangerous, especially when you're in love. You sometimes kind of feel like you're losing your mind. That's why they say falling in love, because sometimes you're literally falling. It literally feels like you're falling down a river sometimes when you're in love. And through this, Psyche was able to master confrontation and deal with a symbolic process that relates to extreme emotions. Just like water, your emotions can go in waves and be very up and down and seem very chaotic and stressful. And again, with the eagle, it really represents how the universe is always sending you signs if you pay attention and look for them. And I think that's a very beautiful thing to note and realize. The universe is really always looking out for you. If you really notice, for me, sometimes I will wake up, not to my alarm, but I will wake up to the hoots of owls. And sometimes it will literally, I kid you not, be at 5:55 in the morning. I will check my phone and it will literally say 5:55 in the morning. And it's so crazy. It's really the craziest thing. It won't be like that all the time, but when it does, I'm just like, the universe. And it really is so symbolic. They also say when loved ones pass away, it can be very symbolic of that. And I love knowing that my angels are always with me. But going back to Psyche, even with the help of the universe, she's still going through all these trials by herself. She's still doing all the soul searching work by herself. And yeah, she's just using the help of the universe to be stronger within herself. And then Psyche's final task was to go to the underworld and grab a box from Persephone. Proserpina is what they also called her, but Persephone is also another name she's referred to as. And I also want to do a video on her too. Let me know if you guys want me to do more Greek mythology stuff. So Psyche has to descend to the underworld to retrieve this box of beauty from Persephone. And once again, she's so curious. She's a curious Georgia. Not just Curious George, but a curious Georgia. And so again, Psyche is so curious. She opens the box and then falls into a deadly sleep. And this can also be referred to as an ego death because she was tempted by vanity, Persephone's beauty, and especially in Greek mythology, sometimes curiosity does kill the cat. I have a tattoo right here that says, "Curiosity often leads to trouble." It's from Alice in Wonderland. I love that quote. I always said when I was younger I wanted to get that tattooed on me. I don't know why. But yeah, think about it like this. At least for me, the things I know now, I would have never understood when I was younger. But because I'm older and I've been through so many things, I'm able to better understand these things and I'm able to welcome this knowledge and accept this knowledge and utilize this knowledge for my good. But there's certain things that you're just not meant to know. There's certain things that when the universe wants you to know them, you will know them. That's why, especially in twin flames or soul connections or in relationships, timing just isn't good because you're not meant to know about this person yet because you might need to know more about yourself. You know what I'm saying? So Psyche experiences an ego death, a spiritual death, and she has to basically surrender and literally shadow work. She has to literally go to the deep and darkest shadows. She has to basically go in her shadow to feel her shadow work. This kind of reminds me of my favorite quote. Sometimes you have to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. And so basically, yeah, Psyche experiences an ego death and must surrender. She has no other choice at this point. There's love in this story, but also confusion. Psyche trusts the feeling, but she's not fully convinced. And that kind of goes back to sometimes when you'll let people in your ear. But yeah, she grows fearful and doubtful because she doesn't trust herself. This is also kind of connected to the ego. And her curiosity and fear, her lack of confidence is what led her to break this union. It's kind of like seeking clarity before spiritual maturity. You know what I'm saying? And so through all of Psyche's trials and tribulations, this is indicative of the twin flame separation, where two souls must go their separate ways to become 100% of themselves. I know people always say, like, you're my other half, but you're not just half of your body, you're not just half of your soul. You must come together fully so they can be my other half because I'm so full. You're my twin. You're my twin because you're as full as I am. I've done my full soul searching. I'm full and now my twin is full too and now you're my other half. You're my reflection because you're full, I'm full. We're full together. You're like 200% or 222%. Get it? Get it. But even in her spiritual death, Psyche is not alone. And this just goes to show how powerful energy is because while Psyche is going through her spiritual and ego death, Cupid feels this and he goes to fight for his loved one back. So Cupid feels her energy and so he goes to Zeus, to the highest authority, the highest of the high. And he goes and asks for his Psyche. It's kind of like in modern times when the husband has to get permission from a higher authority, like the father figure, or, you know, depending on the circumstance. You get what I'm saying? It's so interesting how the modern world and the Greek mythology world, they're so connected, but in different ways. And so he goes and asks for a union with Psyche, and not just on Earth, but also in the heavens. So he literally wants this woman to be his happily ever after, his literal twin flame. He wants this love to be eternity, a soulful, loving love. And so this really does symbolize true reunion for twin flames with the blessings of the universe, through healing, through divine timing. It's all connected, and it's all so important when it comes to this connection.
A life without Meg, even an immortal life, would be empty.
So then after the reunion, Psyche becomes the best version of herself. She turns into an immortal because she earned it through soul searching, through her journey. She has become truly the highest version of herself, the best version of herself. And she did it all on her own. She honestly didn't even need Cupid. Cupid isn't even considered a rescuer. He is her aligned counterpart. He is the person that aligns with her when she's at her best self. And that truly is what a twin flame is about. Yes, sometimes it seems very chaotic and crazy and just a lot because they're mirroring the best and worst sides of you. But in the end, when you come out a better person, that's when you know they're really meant for you and they really are your twin flame because they brought out what your soul was meant to see, what your soul was meant to be mirrored because they're mirroring your best self. And going back to when Psyche was in her ego death, her deep sleep, she is awoken by Cupid's kiss, kind of like in Sleeping Beauty. And that is just a beautiful moment. And together they welcome a baby named Voluptus. And this means pleasure and bliss. And side note, I love Voluspa candles, which is kind of what voluptus makes me think of. I love Voluspa candles. They are amazing. And so I wonder if that's, me being a little bit of a Psyche. But yeah, that's basically the story of Psyche and Cupid. Their connection leads to a soul journey and they end up being the best versions of themselves and living happily ever after. Literally in the divine, and it's divinely blessed, and it's truly so beautiful when you think about it. And yeah, so here are the twin flame themes that we saw in the story. The soul recognition. It's like instantly, it was love at first sight because they saw each other's souls in each other. They're twin flames. They saw they had a connection. It's divinely timed. It's a divine connection. The fear and the ego led to their separation, and that kind of makes me think of the quote, "All's fair in love and war," because sometimes with love, you will do things that you normally wouldn't do.
People always do crazy things when they're in love.
You grow prideful because you want to protect yourself, you want to protect your heart. In an attempt to protect herself and protect her heart, Psyche betrayed Cupid, but they found their way back and they had to be apart to go on their own separate journey so that they could have a beautiful journey together. Because even though Psyche was this beautiful person and she probably thought she was ready for marriage, she became even stronger and even more of a woman. She became more of her divine femininity because she went through all of these trials and tribulations.
For a true hero isn't measured by the size of his strength, but by the strength of his heart.
Healing and shadow work is very necessary before a reunion when it comes to a twin flames, or just even an initial union. When people first meet, they're both doing amazing in life, but then sometimes they start draining each other. Sometimes two people will meet and they're meant to meet, but the timing isn't good because at the time they're not completely whole. They're not completely finished with their own self journey. And again, another theme was also divine timing and surrendering. Lately, I've been putting my trust in the universe. I've been trusting that there's always going to be a divine time for everything. And just let go and let God. I trust in God's plan and divine timing always. And also the theme of sacred union. When two people have grown and are meant to be, the universe will always align them. What's meant to be will always be. And yeah, when a union is sacred, nothing can keep two people apart. Nothing can ever do it. Energy does not lie. And yeah, soul ties don't lie either. And although Psyche really wanted a reunion with Cupid, she never chased. She focused on her own self journey and growth because you never have to chase love. She's a goddess. Goddesses don't chase love, they welcome it. Never chase, always attract, always welcome. What's meant for you will always be for you. What's meant to be will always be. And yes, and just like Psyche and her butterfly wings, here are some wings as well. And yeah, through growth and transformation, Psyche really evolved into a butterfly. She grew her wings. She grew wiser, bolder, and stronger through this process and journey. Psyche and Cupid's union created something new for the world, and their union exists on earth and in heaven, so it's always around, so you never know, you could be having your own Cupid and Psyche love story. And they both represent how divine they are. Psyche really represents soul searching and being awakened. She was awakened, and then this led Cupid to awaken himself and awaken to her and appreciate her. And she represents divine feminine, and Cupid represents divine masculine. He is mysterious, he's hidden, he's untouchable, the god of love. But together they really were able to form a beautiful connection. And yeah, they really represent how true love takes courage, respect, patience, and redemption. Because there's always going to be issues in life, but when you're able to solve your own chaos, you are able to solve it in a relationship and just be able to bring your best self to a relationship and grow together and be your best selves together.
I wish to stay on Earth with her. I finally know where I belong.
Alright, I love you all so much and thank you all so much for watching. Comment down below any Greek mythology topics you want me to cover. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you guys all have an amazing night, day, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. Follow me on all my social media platforms right here at Megan Lex. I'm posting daily on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. And please don't forget to give this video a big and juicy thumbs up.
Hands up in the air.
Subscribe and turn on your notifications. My music is available on Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to music. My podcast, Pod With Meg, is available on all platforms, wherever you watch and listen to podcasts, YouTube, Tidal, iHeartRadio, Spotify, everything. So yeah, stay tuned for new episodes of my podcast, Pod With Meg. I have new vlogs coming up, new story times and everything. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to sharing more stories with you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to just living and sharing more things with you guys. I'm so happy I have this podcast and this platform to share these stories and everything. And never forget, true love exists, especially within you. Okay. Bye, nutmegs. Toodles. Bye for now. Is this tilted or am I tripping? Yay! Oh my gosh. Okay, cute. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright. No chance, no way, I won't say I'm in love. Alright. Let me just make sure everything is looking good over here. Alright. If you're back, you're a nutmeg, and if you're new, unfortunately, you're just a nut. I'm so sorry. And ask and you shall receive. And Kitty, of course. And Psyche feels... It's alright, let's get into it. How cute are these angel wings? I'm obsessed. I'm trying to stay in the middle of them. And it's so funny, I started journaling at 11:11 p.m. So that, once again, is divine timing. You can't make this up. And it's because she really earned it. She really soul searched so hard. Do you guys remember that song from Hannah Montana? If Cupid had a heart, he would da-da-da-da. He'd fall in love with me. Da-da-da-da-da. If Cupid had a heart, da-da-da-da, so he'd be into me. He'd be into me.
If Cupid had a heart, Cupid might not know how deep the sweet.
Selena Gomez ate with that. I will never forget that song from Hannah Montana. I always thought about that.
Everywhere I fucking go, I got the dro, the loudest pack,
Feeling lonely and unloved. I'm like, oh. And so make sure you keep coming back every day, every week. Come back all the time to become a nutmeg because your girl, she's active. She knows what to do. Okay. Anyways, I jotted down so many notes for this. I'm so excited to get into it. Golden wool, 200% people. 100, twins. 222. Bye, nutmegs. Bye for now.